Good evening, everyone. It's Kinninigan. Not really in a good mood. It's this time of month. I've run out of money because I'm not going to lie. So if you could support the channel. What I really like to do tonight is like go get a beer. So if anyone wants to buy me a drink and I can't even afford to do that, there's a beer distributor right across the street from me, and I get like single cans of beer. So you want to buy me a drink? You'd make me a very happy person. Um, This is a follow up to the video I did yesterday. Me, my mental problems are really financial. I call it a financial depression because it's the reality of the world I live in for the type of content I create, which is what this video is about. I made a video yesterday about being bombarded constantly with negative energy, specifically from content creators. For this longest time, we thought that getting away from mainstream media was going to be the way to go, and alternative media was going to be the answer to Project Mockingbird and Zionist propaganda. However, that's not actually the case. Because I did some deep diving and actually did research on how local news stations put together their half hour news broadcasts for local and evening news. And it's basically 22 minutes. They cover everything: the weather, sports. Now, weather and sports, they can't really predict. That's a variable, but they have to, like, if the winning team loses, people are going to be pissed. I live in Philly with the Eagles. I know all about that. Um, However, within the 22 minutes of the show, yeah, they would start off by giving you the big news stories, local news stories, but they wouldn't bombard you with 22 minutes straight of just negative news. And they would counterbalance that with local news stories: a fireman saving a cat from a tree, local child that needs health care they can't afford getting some help, or a local charity doing something nice for the neighborhood. And yes, this actually does happen on your local news, and it happens for a reason. There's also other things that I can get into, but I'm not going to go deep on it right now because that involves MK Ultra mind control. And that's the fact that newscasters that constantly have to pump out 24/7 propaganda, it wears them down. They have mental breakdowns over this. So, and here we are in the time where alternative content creators are just going on for 20 minutes straight in a video. They have to pick things, if they decided to be an anti-Trump content creator, they got to find stories about Trump every single day to make content about. Or on the other end, if you're a liberal, or if you're on the right, I mean, if you identify as far right, then you've got to pick out woke video games or anything that's woke to make content about. But at the end, what this basically is, regardless of whether you like it or not, it's being bombarded with negative stuff. If there's anyone that should be putting out negative stuff on their content creation every day, it would be me, being the fact that I cover the Illuminati, shape-shifting reptilians, satanic ritual abuse, adrenochrome, pedophilia, human trafficking, black magic rituals, including blood magic, necromancy, child and human sacrifice, but I don't. And that stuff does wear me down, and I don't want to talk about that stuff every day. So I tried, it's like walking on eggshells. Long story short, I think better for me, and going forward, I'm going to try to start to do more videos of positive things. Because if you don't think this has an effect on you, it does. In fact, one of the first people to respond to my video yesterday is a good subscriber of my channel. And I'm going to read you part of the email that he sent me. Not the whole thing, because there's other things he says in there, and I'll keep it private. But basically stuff he tells me about. But I'm telling you, he is an ex-Freemason, an ex-Black magician. He's also the one that supported my, donated the occult library that I have, books from his own private occult library, when he was a working Black magician. And he agreed with me 100% about that video. It's, this is one of the reasons why people leave secret societies. If you ever been around Freemason, they are the most grumpy people around. Go watch videos that they put out in the mainstream, even about Masonic rituals going on. Those are more like recruiting videos, but you'll see a bunch of grouchy old men with just smug pusses on their face. And the truth is, most people who are Zionists, they wind up turning into psychopathic, homicidal psychopaths. That's Zionist. That's Zionism in general. Yeah, and it does wear down your. And there's actually a scientific experiment done to actually prove this, and it might be in the title of this video, the rice experiment. Now, this is something, an experiment you could actually do at your home. It's not only that, but this affects all humans and all life on planet Earth. So when you're bombarded by constant YouTube feed of just negative anti-Trump this, anti-Trump that, now everything is anti-Israel right now, anti-this, anti-that. Yeah, and believe me, a lot of these content creators are going to have mental breakdowns. There's a reason why I've survived 10 YouTube channels in doing this. No, I don't have a lot of financial rewards to show for it because I never put out fear porn propaganda that would get me big numbers and content views, but I don't do it because it's not what I believe in. And that's why I'm going to share part of the email from an ex black magician and Freemason with you. And he responded to my video yesterday. Hey Kenny, I hardly go online anymore because of the negative bullshit, but I'm glad that you watched my video when I posted it. So thank you. It's everywhere, and a person can't escape it. Too many podcasters remind me of the song called Dirty Laundry. Now, Dirty Laundry is a song made by Don Henley, the ex lead singer of the Eagles. Yeah, one name for a band, the Eagles. Um, I would read you the song lyrics, but Don Henley would probably sue me for copyright infringement, and I'm not even joking about that. A lot of people in the music industry do not like Don Henley. I'm not going into it. I know about musicians. He's not well liked because a lot of people he get if you try to post an Eagles song on your YouTube channel, they will file copyright infringement against you. And not only that, but he stole a lot of the music. He did not write Hotel California. The guy he fired from his band actually did. They live for depressing crap that they can spread as if doom and gloom makes big money. And you know what? There are content creators out there making big money spending doom and gloom, making anti-Trump videos, anti-Zionist videos, but they're gonna fade out quickly, and they're not gonna have longevity. They're gonna burn out. In my feed today, there is a claim that Trump is dying. Well, if it makes you feel any better, the only enemy you ever have in life is death, and the enemy always wins. That's from Game of Thrones. The minute you're born, you start dying. Well, yeah, I know. I've heard those rumors also. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. It seems the world offenders are the ones who push Bible verses and the end of the world, which I never do. And one of the reasons I had an interest in reptilians and the Anunnaki because I heard all this stuff from Zechariah Stitchin saying that the Anunnaki are coming back December 21st, 2012 to collect their gold like they do every 6,666 years, and it never happened. This is why you don't hear me talking about planet Nibiru. Then I found out Nibiru was actually a name of a Sumerian city, and Zechariah Stitchin was a Freemason, and he was making a lot of shit up about the reptilian Anunnaki. And that's why I started my reptilian journey. Now, I will do a video on this, full lecture, not today, but I will do a video on how to dispel demons and negative energy. There is a way to deal with demons, and it's not what you think. But I'll give you a clue. One of the ways to dispel demons, one was taught by Jesus Christ himself, and two, it's a Buddhist philosophy, and that is to treat demons with love and compassion, and it will dispel them. They they feed on fear. And what I'm getting really sick of is the divide and conquer strategy that's going on in America by dividing up the parties, right versus left, MAGA versus liberal, and this versus that, black versus white, and it's all divide and conquer bullshit. But at the end of a lot of these movements, there's always a Freemason at the end orchestrating it, including content creators here on YouTube. So, what is the Rice experiment? Well, one good thing about AI is I just do searches now, and I don't even need to look things up. AI does it for you now. Yeah, I guess so. But we don't need all these data centers to do that. They're something else. Maybe I'll make a video on with the data center. I actually I did recently. I talked about the data centers, but the Rice experiment is a demonstration of how words and thoughts can affect physical matter, specifically cooked rice. In this experiment, rice is placed in jars labeled with positive and negative phrases, and over time, the rice exposed to positive words tend to remain healthier, while the rice exposed to negative words shows signs of decay. And how you do this experiment is over 30 days. You get 3 mason jars. Yeah, mason jars, and you fill them with cooked rice. And one of the reasons why this experiment works, it isn't so much the rice; it's the water in the rice. This experiment and the negative energy affects the cellular structure of water. Your body as a human is 72% water. You are affected by certain vibrational frequencies, otherwise known as profanity or curse words. So yeah, you're going to sit there for a month cursing out a cooked rice jar. That's something I could easily do, um, but it actually does work. Someone taught me about this experiment years ago when I started researching the occult, and I couldn't believe it. But here's what the rice experiment basically looks like. So you have 3 jars. You have one that you say positive affirmations to every day, like I do with my cats. I tell my cats every day how handsome and pretty they are, and my cats adore me for it, and that's why my cats love me. You have a third jar, which you do nothing with. This is your variable jar, which you will just sit in the corner and not say anything to. That's your baseline. And then you have one where you will literally project hate to it every day. You're literally going to use curse words and profanity. There's a reason why they're called curse words. I'll do a lecture on word magic and vibrational frequency of words. Um, that I can do. I will do that. Um, and then, as you see, the ones who are bombarded with hate every day, they start to rot faster. This happens with humans also, because it's the water inside of the jars that's actually being affected by. Now, the what's really interesting is the one that nothing is said to just decays at its own rate, like normal natural decay. However, the one that is giving positive, loving affirmations every day is healthy. And I don't know if you've known this, but like for example, when humans fall in love or have children, did you know they vibrate at a higher frequency? Women do this when they bear children or when they fall in love. So do men when they fall in love or have children. Same thing. Your pets are affected the same way. People that treat their pets like shit have pets that do not look good. They're not healthy. My cats are healthy, and because like I said, I give them loving affirmations every day. So yeah, this is a real experiment, and you can do it, and it is real. And that's what we're being bombarded with every day is this negative energy, this hate that you're supposed to hate everything. You got to hate Israel. You got to hate the Jews. You got to hate MAGA. You got to hate liberals. Hate this. Hate that. Hate the woke. Hate Supergirl. Hate Game of Thrones. Hate the trans agenda. Hate this. Hate that. And it's just. And for me to go out on YouTube and find positive videos is getting harder and harder every day. And yeah, this is a real thing. And I am someone that could cover very dark subjects every single day. And even if it would get me more views, I'm not going to do it because I know the effect it would have on my mental health. I'm not even kidding when I say I need a beard because I get just a lot of stuff I worry about. But I try not to let it affect me. I do not enjoy doing lectures on satanic ritual abuse, which is one of the reasons I was so pissed for losing my YouTube channels for doing it. That is not something I actually wanted to do. It's not something I did for YouTube AdSense revenue or to get a lot of, although it did bring a lot of revenue and subscribers to my original channel. And I could easily grow a channel covering a lot of things. One, they would kick me off YouTube very quickly if I started doing that. And two, I do not cover end time, fear mongering. Even though I do cover the New World Order, which is the ultimate end times. That's tying into the Book of Revelation and the arrival of the Antichrist. I don't think you can get any more end times than that. And I don't like covering it all the time. And basically, this is what being bombarded with negative energy. And on top of that, yes, demons feed on this. It's called Loosh, negative energy. Where this is one of the reasons why they don't want humans uniting on this planet because we would vibrate at a higher frequency. And when that happens, the Illuminati's done. The reptilians are done. They are energy parasites. They are not apex predator lizards. They are energy parasites. The only way you're going to see a reptilian is to invoke one in a black magic ritual, what needs to be done in a temple, of all things, because temples are constructed certain ways involving sacred geometry. There's going to be blood magic involved, meaning you're going to kill an animal or a human to invoke it. And even this is done for lower level summoning of demons, of all things. And this is with the constant bombardment of negative. I mean, just look at Zionists. People like Mark Levin are having mental breakdowns because he's on his podcast every day, screaming to the top of his lungs how anti-Semitic everyone is, and everyone hates this. Yeah, what do you think Mark Levin's insides look like right now? Probably this jar over here on the right, the hate one. He's decaying from the inside out. Meanwhile, people who don't watch the news every day and don't follow the algorithms are probably look a lot more like the healthy race, and this is something that is real. So I'm kind of reevaluating the content I want to create, and even when I do cover occult subjects, I tend not to. I, um, I use a lot of humor. There's a reason why occasionally I'll upload videos of my cats of all things, because I do not want to push out fear mongering 24/7. So I show people I have a human side, like I play video games and I have cats. So yeah, I'll post that from time to time, and so yeah, so that's kind of the gist of what I was going over in that video yesterday. This is something that's real. You could do experiments with this. This was originally done by a Japanese scientist known as they show you on here. I think his name is Dr. Masaru Emoto. Yeah, he was a Japanese scientist. Explains why they used rice. As hey, no offense. They like rice over in Asia, so it makes sense. But you could do this with any. You could do this with cooked pasta. Doesn't matter. Anything that contains water, which would be a lot of stuff that you cook actually, like rice, pasta, and yeah, you can perform this experiment at home and actually see it. And yes, this does affect humans, animals, all life forms on Earth. And we're in a cycle right now where we're just being bombarded with negative energy every day. And even like I said, I'm not so sure that the alternative media is the answer anymore because they're just bombarding people with 24/7 negative shit. They just farm content to bitch about stuff that's going on instead of becoming the solution yourself. That's what you should try to do is become. Um, yeah, you could talk about the symptoms all day, but what about a solution? So I'm gonna start making more videos about Atlantis. Orgone is a great subject. I covered that before. Although that subject might get me in trouble for certain reasons, but I'll cover Orgone and Dr. Wilhelm Reich. Yeah, he was another person that was blackballed by your government because he was harnessing the power of orgone energy, and he was finding out a lot of interesting things, like how to cure cancer. Of all, and I will make a video about that. I have orgone sitting on my desk right next to me. So go ahead and try to put a black magic curse on me. I don't know if it's going to work. I know how to dispel a demon. If a succubus shows up in your room at night, smack it on the ass and tell it how cute it is. It'll run away real quick. However, one shows up in your room in the middle of the night and you're scared, it's only going to gain more power. Yes, demons do work that way. Uh, in a strange way, I think to bind demons to your will when you're a high level caster like Aleister Crowley, I believe he actually liked the demons he was invoking. He wasn't afraid of them. And that's what made him a powerful magician. So, just saying. We have a lot of these Hollywood Luciferians running around that don't really know what they're doing when it comes to invoking demons in the occult. I'll also make a video about that. That was something that someone else came up with, the concept of Hollywood Luciferians. I said, yeah, I like that. That one's good. And it does wear down on the human psyche. So I guess I'm telling you, try to be the change you want to see, right? And yeah, there are ways to deal with the Illuminati. I just told you what it is. It would be all 8 billion people on Earth stopping all the bullshit wars, not being divided, having a universal language that we can all communicate with, which actually does exist. It's called Esperanto. It was shut down by the UN in the 1950s because they didn't want a universal language, so they could have divide and conquer going on, which is still going on to this day. And yeah, this is what constant negative energy will do to you. And if you don't think that it affects the human body, it does. There's a reason why these people that are elite Luciferians start to look so evil in their old age, like Prince Philip, because he's not putting out any kind of loving affirmation. He's always got a smug puss on his face, like I said. You see that with a lot of high level people in the occult and secret societies. The evil just permeates off them, and they become old grouchy people, very narcissistic. And in the case of Zionists, yeah, they become unhinged psychopaths eventually. So when you're not, and you got to have a little levity. And for someone that covers subjects as dark as I do, I could be making a lot of very dark videos. I choose not to, just for my own mental health. I'm not going to. Plus, I would probably get kicked off YouTube for it. Yeah, I'm not going into detail. I can go into a lot of details about what Luciferians do in occult ritual, but I'm not doing it. So yeah, that's a follow up to my video from yesterday, and a little words of wisdom there from an ex Freemason and ex working black magician who used to work with demons. So I get good advice from a lot of subs on my channel. You'd be surprised at the people who follow me. Why are ex Freemason following a reptilian YouTube channel? Ask yourself the questions. Why did he donate his occult part? Not all of it. Some of his occult library to me, and I got some very valuable books I'm sitting on. Very rare, valuable books, and I'm thinking about selling them in the near future because I need to buy a new computer soon. But even that's not even like with the price of computer hardware going through the roof because of the data centers. Yeah, it's not going to be easy. Did Steven Spielberg reveal some Zeta Reticuli in his film Disclosure today? I believe he did. I haven't seen the movie yet. I don't care. People are like making negative videos about Steven Spielberg's movies also. It's like, you know, I want to tell half these content creators, if you don't like anything going on in Hollywood, go make movies. Like, start your own movie companies. Like, show us how it's done. Look, Hollywood is crumbling under, for a lot of reasons, actually, but and yeah, they're not producing good movies anymore. Let's be honest. And it's because they're hiring a lot of writers coming out of college that were educated about the 200 different genders and communism, and they're not learning basic script writing in English, and they're not as talented as old school Hollywood writers were. That's the truth. You got a lot of these, you know, I'm not going to go into details about it because then I'd be a hypocrite. But at the end of the day, this is true. A lot of alternative media content creators operate on what? Gossip. Gossip is one of the ways that the Pharisees used to condemn and crucify Jesus Christ. And that was the reptilian Pharisees from Babylon that did that. And they framed it to make it seem like the Jews and the Romans crucified Jesus. When actually it was the Pharisees who did it, and they admit to it in Babylonian Talmud. They used magic and gossip. One of the things that a lot of creators, and they're very good at gossip, like Ben Shapiro, they're not good at magic. Because if they were, they wouldn't, they'd be putting spells on people to get them to watch their content, and they're not. So they got the gossip down packed, and gossip is a Luciferian tool. And what I'm noticing is more and more content creators are just getting in the gossip loop every day. And that's not a path I want to go down. Anyway, that's all from my video. Leave comments. Anyway, if you can support the channel, you want to buy me a beer, that'd be awesome. I yeah, there's Supergirl didn't do good. I don't care. I'm not. there isn't too many modern movies I get excited to watch. And if I do watch modern movies, a lot of them have been foreign movies, not made in Hollywood. Hollywood is crumbling, not other movie makers around the world. Maybe you need to start looking in indie films like I do, just like I do with indie video games. That's the new renaissance that's coming. Mainstream, yeah, they are dying, but there are good content creators out there in the alternative media who make good content who just don't engage in the negativity all the time. But I'm very suspicious of the ones who do, including big streamers. And that's all I'm going to say. It's almost like they're trying to cause a civil war in the United States because that is eventually what's going to happen if people keep being bombarded with negative energy all day. They're going to lose it. Maybe that's what they want. Then that would give them an excuse to round up people and throw them at specifically Christians and put them in Camp FEMA. So, but like I said, I'm not doing the doom and gloom in this video. Any questions or comments, leave them below. God bless and take care.